Hello, Vetters. Today is a special day. We are going to be showing, finally, the screenshots of the supposed Lockheed Martin insider who supposedly, again, allegedly talked about this UAP retrieval program, gunfight with JSOC, two people getting killed, yada, 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 all that stuff. So, again, if you didn't see, yesterday we did an interview with Jon Stewart where we talked about that more amongst some other things. And we're going to clear up in this video today some of the feedback I got from the interview. I'm going to be discussing that. And again, we're going to be going over all of these, parts of the email that were sent to me. I know for a fact everything was not sent to me, even though John told me in the interview everything was. So he lied to me. Now, granted, he may have had good reasons for lying to me, but I'm just saying he lied to me. He didn't send me everything clearly. But anyway, doesn't matter. What he did send, I am going to share it. And I'll explain as we go why I'm sharing this stuff, y'all. Okay, because I was asked not to share it, but we're going to get into that. Just want to be transparent, right? So anyway, here's a quick video of all the screenshots real quick so you can get them, pause it, look at it, read it on your own time, and then we're going to go over it individually as well, all right? So if you're new to the channel, guys, and you like content like this, hit the subscribe button. We put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And, of course, hit that like button, y'all. That really helps out the videos. Y'all crushed it on yesterday's video, so thank y'all so much for doing that. And, of course, comment down below, y'all, what you guys think of this correspondent. Does it seem real to you? Does it seem fake? What do you see in it? I'm curious any red flags that you see. I'm going to tell you all the ones I see and the context surrounding it. So let's dive into this and take a look.
Take me back here. This Lockheed Martin insider tells you that in 2004, one of their craft that they had built using alien technology had crashed, and a firefight ensued between Lockheed Martin employees and JSOC, who descended on this site at the same time. So can you go through this in more detail?
Absolutely.
All right, you've seen the screenshots of the emails. Again, feel free to pause that, look at them, read them on your own time. There's no link for me to put for you to get them because I'm not going to post them online, but they are in this video. That's how you can get them. But again, we're going to go over each one and kind of take a look at it. But the first thing I'm going to start with is this email exchange, okay, that happened between... Let me pull it up here. Basically, between John and I bring it up in the interview, right? Like, hey, man, you sent me this stuff, and you said do not share, and, you put me in danger, and you kind of came after me with that. You shouldn't have sent that. You should have asked my consent before you sent it, right? So let me explain what I meant by all that, because I think several people were very confused. They were like, Patrick, you asked for it. He sent it to you. I get that. But again, as I tried to explain in the interview, there's more to it. All right. So, and again, I do admit that in the interview, I pushed that too hard. I will admit that. And I brought it up several times. And it's my fault because I kept trying to convince John that it was wrong. Instead of just stating my position, he states his position and we move on. So that's my fault. I take responsibility for that. And I shouldn't have pressed so hard on that. I do agree with that feedback that I got. Now, the fact that he just asked me and why am I getting mad, that I don't agree with. So let me explain. John and I were in another email exchange about meeting up and doing a get together. And it was very simple, of just, what time can we meet, and that sort of thing. He wanted to have a phone call conversation with me and pre-chat, if you will, and all, and I said no. So I don't want to do that. I want everything public. First time we talk, it's going to be on Zoom. I recorded every instance. What y'all saw in the interview was every second of our interaction. I left everything in. And granted, I could have edited that to make myself look better, right? I could have edited that to take out the parts where I was pushing so hard on the email. I could have edited it, but I didn't. I put it all out, fault or no fault, that's what it is, right? So I felt that was fair, transparent, right? So anyway, he sends me, we're having the conversation about meeting, and we set up a time we're going to meet. And then he just sends me this email. I didn't ask for it, y'all. I didn't ask for any information. I didn't ask for anything, in fact. He just, on his own, sent it to me. I think that's very important to understand. He starts this communication with me about this. And he just says, Lockheed email number 1. Number 1, okay? And he sends this. And clearly, at the bottom, you can tell it cuts out. And again, I already shared this screenshot of one of my videos because that's the first one he sent me by itself. That's all it was. Incomplete, number 1. And there's no text. It doesn't say do not share. It doesn't say, hey, man, here's this. There's no context to it. 0. Just says Lockheed email number 1. Again, I never asked for it. I didn't ask for anything from him. Just a time and date that we could talk. That's it. So he sends me this email. I respond with, yeah, cool. Can you send me the rest? Because again, it says number 1. And I had already shared it because he didn't say don't share. He didn't ask anything of that, right? It's not private. That's what I'm thinking. Then he sends me, when I ask for the rest of them, he says, rest of emails, Lockheed story. Patrick, here they are. Please do not share. Thank you. And then he just puts them. He didn't say, hey, man, can I send you stuff that, you know, you're asking for the rest, but just so you know, if I send you the rest, you can't share it. You know, it's private. That's not what he did, right? He sent me one so I'd be teased by it and ask for the rest, but what he didn't know is that I would share it, right? But my point was you can't just send me something without getting my consent. But regardless, if that's understood or not for other people, maybe we agree to disagree. I don't know. I don't care. The bigger point of this, okay, the bigger point is the fact that he's just willing to send this to anybody that asks for it. Even if he says don't share it, he's still sending it to people willy-nilly. If this is real sensitive information, you're just going to send it to any podcaster that asks you? Granted, guys, I don't know John. I had never spoken to him on the phone. I never seen him in person, and he sends me this sensitive information. That's a huge red flag. If this is real, and that's a real whistleblower reaching out to him, insider, how can you ever trust John again, right? And then John said in our interview, I selfishly came out for me to protect me. He said he didn't care about the whistleblower. In my interview, that's what he said. But in the redacted interview, he says, I want to protect him. See, he contradicts himself. Which is it? You want to protect your source, but you just send it to anybody that asks this information? And then on my podcast, he says, I was just looking out for me. I never said I wanted to protect him. When he did, he literally just forgets the lies he says, or he forgets. Maybe they're not lies. He just forgets what he says. But he contradicts himself. So again, on the redacted, and if John says he didn't say that, I'll bring the receipts. You can go to that redacted. I'll put a link in the description. You go. It's one of the first things he says. Literally one of the first things out of his mouth is that. So again, it's kind of interesting to have that. Right, to say that. But again, why send this out to just anybody? That's dangerous, in my opinion, to just send this information out to anybody who's just to anybody. Y'all, again, he doesn't know me. I don't know him. I wouldn't give him any sensitive information, right? What if I asked John for his birth certificate and his social security card and his passport? You think he's just going to send it to me? What if I ask him for his tax record, his financial, this, that, like, tell me your secret, right? So it doesn't make sense. Why would he send it to me? I'll tell you why he sent it to me, because he's playing the game, y'all. That's the game that's played in the UFO community. If you don't think that the guy from Redacted didn't have these screenshots, you're crazy. He did. He saw all the information I'm about to show you, and they still went forward with the story. Why didn't John tell all the information that's in these screenshots I'm about to show you? Because if he did, nobody would believe it. That's why he left out important bits, and then he filtered it through himself because he wants to become the voice of the story. So then he's known as the Lockheed guy. And then people will bring him on to talk about that. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the problem with the UFO world and the UFO community. And again, he thought I was going to play the game that all the UFO podcasters and content creators play. Hey, man, this is what we do. We tell these crazy stories. We know they're not really true, but we do it for clicks and views and, make sure everyone checks in. Right? And that's essentially what happened, in my opinion. So again, John sending that out to just anybody is a major red flag, y'all. Let's just forget the fact of do not share. You didn't tell me about it. Forget all that. Forget my nonsense. Okay. Let's just say I'm wrong. He's right. I don't care. What's the bigger issue? The bigger point. He just sends it to anybody and everybody, and it's sensitive information. That doesn't make sense, y'all. All right. Let's go to the screenshots. So this is the first one. He says, hi, John. I saw one of your recent podcasts. Thank you for covering the UAP topic. I have some information you may find useful for this. Just right off the bat, no offense, that my BS meter goes off. Just seeing that. As many correspondence as I've seen and emails and messages from people that send it to me saying, I got information. The one John got here is quite extensive. But if you'll notice, it's just made up of stories that are already shared on the internet by other people. And he just brought it all together. What do we call that in the community? LARPing. Whoever sent this to John is a LARPer. But I actually have again, it's a theory, but I actually think John wrote this. And if he didn't write it, he knows the person that wrote it. Because if you go back to my interview and you watch when I ask him, did you write this? Listen to his answer. No, I did not write it. No, I did not write that. That's what he said. He gets real serious. He totally changes demeanor and style and everything. And red flags. Something's off about his answer. Again, I'm not saying he wrote it, but I have a feeling he either wrote it or he knows who wrote it. And it's not real. Like it's a hoax. And like, oh crap, I'm being found out here. Again, he thought I was going to play the same old UFO game that all of them play. And I don't. Because again, I've stated numerous times on this show, I don't want secret info. I don't want classified stuff. I don't want sensitive material. I don't want to know anything that I can't share publicly. And honestly, I need to start saying that to people I correspond with immediately in my emails. So that's my fault. In fact, I'm going to put in my email signature. So look, I've learned my own lesson through this. Okay? So there you go. But yeah, I don't want any of this stuff. I saw one person commenting like, oh, dude, you're going to lose, like people aren't going to trust you and you're going to lose access. And that's great. I don't care, right? That's the whole, guys, I don't want this stuff. I'm not trying to say the right things to every guest I have on so that I can get more guests. That's not the point for me, right? I just want to be truthful and tell what's going on and, report every day at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time like I do and upload a new video. I don't want secret information because this is what happens. You get sent stuff like this and then you get all excited and you want to share and then it becomes a story and then it becomes fact, right? So anyway, he says, I served in the USMC and Defense Intelligence Agency as an intelligence analyst and then moved to Lockheed as a security program manager. I no longer work at Lockheed. I was read into the UAP program, and the UAP issue is multifaceted. That already sounds like a LARP. I was read into the UAP program, and the UAP issue is multifaceted. Okay, you want to be important. While it's generally known to the public at this point from the recent news articles that the United States has its own recovery and storage team for downed NHI craft, most of people in UCG, United States government, intel community knows he put IC and then community. Doesn't IC mean intelligence community? Knows about this as well. Anyway, what isn't known to the public, except to a select few in the United States government, is that, and apparently you, this guy, sending this email to Jon Stewart, of all people. Again, y'all, if that's not a huge red flag to y'all, because this guy says he only sent it to him and Ross Coulthart. These are the only two people you sent it to? And he ghosts John after this. Stops talking to him. Again, if you're an actual whistleblower or insider, why would you send anything to Jon Stewart? It makes zero sense. The guy is only out to protect himself. He said that on my show. He doesn't care about protecting the whistleblower or the insider. He's only out to protect himself. That's why he came forward, to protect himself. So he'll share the information you send him with literally anybody. And I will too, but I'm open about it. I've said that since day one. Don't give me any. I don't want this stuff. I don't want that burden. I don't want to try to decipher. I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want hoaxes. I don't want any of that. I don't want that information. I don't want people coming after me. I don't want any of that. I don't want anybody thinking I have that stuff. Receive classified info, sensitive. I don't want any of that. But John does. And look what he'll do with it. He'll literally just pass it off to anybody. It doesn't make any sense. You only pass this stuff off if you're an absolute moron, which I don't think John is, or there's something dubious going on. Just saying. All right, let me go up on this. USG is that Lockheed has had its own internal recovery team for downed craft. This is where the real core of the UAP issue lies, not the religious implications or the biologics. Lockheed has had this team since the 1970s and have amassed a horde of both intact and crashed UAPs at a facility in Palmdale, California. At some point around mid-1980s, they were able to successfully reverse engineer one of these NHI craft and kept this hidden and completely obfuscated from the United States government. Now, at the end of his email, this guy says not to share Palmdale, California. But go ahead and share everything else about the downed craft, the two JSOC members that got murdered. If you see all the detail this guy gives and then he just doesn't want you to release that city, again, y'all, it's like the people that fall for these emails, it blows my mind. It literally blows my mind. And John said he's a human BS meter, but he hangs out with Rick Doty. Right? And other people, and he can't see. He thinks the alien UFO video might be real. That's why he's investigating and putting his time and effort into that video, of all things to investigate in the UFO world. The thing that looks the most obviously fake is what you start with. And then again, he's getting these emails. Who's sending them to? Like, who knows this guy? I mean, no offense to him, but if you go to his YouTube channel, he has no engagement. Who's reaching out? You're telling me this guy went to huntingvictor.com and sent him an email? I mean, it doesn't make any sense that this guy wouldn't go to bigger players. He went to Ross Coulthart, and why didn't Ross Coulthart print this story? Because it can't be verified. The guy even says it in this email I'm about to show you. That's why it's funny that this guy is talking like this is all real, like he knows it, right? But as we read through, you're going to see what he says near the end. He doesn't even know if this is true. It's all second-hand, third-hand information, water cooler talk. Yeah, that's the smoking gun of this email that John didn't share, y'all. So right here, at some point around mid-1980s, they were able to successfully reverse engineer one of these NHI craft and kept this hidden and completely obfuscated from the United States. One of my senior security managers was firsthand legacy witness to this. Okay. Lockheed even relinquished some of the original NHI craft back into custody of the United States government and lied, saying that they could make no progress in deciphering. I love how he put that in quote, like he remembers that quote. Again, this is all just water cooler conversations he's heard, yet he knows all this information. And deciphering the technology, even though they had successfully made a breakthrough. They did this without telling the United States government that we had a fully flying and intact reverse engineered craft. This is where and again, let me just real quick mention, y'all, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of my video yesterday, I don't think we're alone in the universe. I think NHI has visited Earth. I think our government has some sort of craft. Okay. I think there is a reverse engineering program. I'm not saying that parts of the content of this email can't be true or aren't true. I'm saying the guy that sent this email is not who he said he is, and he's just pulling these stories from something else. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And some of it he's just throwing in to make it seem good. That's what I feel. And that's the danger of this, y'all. We should be sticking to what we know to be verifiably true, or at least if this person would have kept contact and be forth and gave more details and evidence, then maybe this story you can take further. But it's the carelessness that this was handled that worries me, and the red flag. And again, I'm suspicious that John wrote this, y'all. I really feel that a lot of people write this stuff and it goes out. Look what Mike Disclosure and Disclosure Party and all that I exposed with Rick, on the Rick Doty show, we'll call it. Right? That guy just made up an entire thread and then deleted it when everyone called him on it. And that's what happens, y'all. People just make stuff up because it sounds good. And I realize a lot of people reading this and go, oh man, that sounds pretty good. Like, I think there's something here. And that could be true. But my point isn't about that. It's about the email and who sent it, right? It's just a LARPer sending it to John, or he's the guy, or right? Like, just something's not right about this. So anyway, this is where the heart of the dispute between Congress today and Lockheed is coming to a head in Schumer's recent UAP bill, demanding the tech from the legacy UAP program. Again, there's no way for him to know all this. Again, when you hear what he says at the end, it's impossible. The USG realized it was lied to about the progress and now want full custody of the ARV vehicles that Lockheed currently has. It's like this guy saw the Y-Files episode about ARVs. I mean, I'm sorry, y'all. It's just all of this is just pulled from other stories. Even though I was read into the general UAP program, so there's different levels to it. Oh, you're in the general program. We got the secure program over here, right? Like, just general, just so you know, we got UFOs and there's a program, but that's all you're going to know. Just the general program. Like, I was never privy to this specific group while I worked for Lockheed. There were only brief water cooler discussions I had with people directly involved that are my personal friends I've known for many years. I know of an incident in 2004 where one of Lockheed's own reverse-engineered ARV crashed in the Southwest. The USG was monitoring. They thought it was genuine NHA craft. They sent out their own recovery team for many years. I know of an incident in 2004, genuine owner team at JSOC, but there was a violent altercation between them and the Lockheed recovery team that resulted in 2 deaths. This is the incident Grush is referring to when he says people have been killed to keep this UAP secret. No, that's not true, because that's not the entire quote from David Grush. David Grush states under oath in congressional testimony that UAP and people have caused the murder of human beings. That it was also UFOs. So it's not this story. Because the UFO didn't cause any deaths. It was human on human deaths here, right? So I'm just saying, this was a blue on blue situation. Where have you heard that before, y'all? Only a few of y'all will understand that reference from other dudes' stories. Again, between 2 completely separate recovery teams, the USG group had no awareness of the other one. I was privy to the names of 2 airmen that were killed. Good work on the subject. Ping me when you can. Mike. What's this guy's name? Mike. So he says, that's how he ends the first email to him. I think you might, some information you might find useful. What do you mean? I think some information that you might find useful for this? Useful for what? So crazy, y'all. Good work on the subject. Ping me when you can. Good work on the subject. Good work doing what? This is so crazy. And this is just like a random, I didn't get the rest of this message. Again, John did not send me everything, even though he said I asked him if he sent me every correspondence that he's had with this person, everything. He said yes, and he hasn't, clearly. But again, it's fine. So there's more I don't have. Our satellite office, it's tapered off there, so we can't see the rest. However, I would not go public. Of course not. And I'm not sure about releasing this information. Too late. The only caveat to this is I remember the names of the 2 airmen that were killed, especially stuck out to me because they were both clearly of Asian descent. I am Asian myself. What do you mean the only caveat to this is I remember the names? What does that even mean? I had debated a few times trying to inquire into a way to track down immediate relatives and maybe contacted them. I don't know what should be done, honestly. I'm fairly certain the immediate families to this day are not aware of the actual circumstances regarding their passing. This is just so odd. And see, John used this as like, see, isn't that a weird detail? He must be telling the truth. It's because John wrote it or knows who wrote it. Again, in my opinion, allegedly. That's just my feeling, y'all. Yes, correct. Again, I don't know what the question is, but this is just his answer. And people are saying, oh, the sent folder. Yeah, I don't know. What's going on there? John said all his emails got swiped, but he was able to get screenshots of his emails like a week ago. But his emails got swiped 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whenever it was, or back in December. So again, y'all, John's stories just don't add up a lot. And honestly, when I was interviewing him, it became so hard to try to call him out on everything. It's just impossible. He says so much that you just can't, you can't stop him for everything. You have to like pick and choose which parts you're going to pursue further and ask for further clarification. So yeah. Yes, correct. Although not explicitly mentioned in Schumer's UAP bill, Lockheed is the primary contractor being targeted. I was never aware of any other contractors that had any sort of similar legacy UAP program. The in-house recovery team was known only by a very select few in the United States government, but the current legislation snag is now happening because now members in Congress know about this in-house recovery team, the 2004 incident, 2 airmen murdered, and the subsequent fleet of fully operational ARVs. I assume Grush reported this incident and the 2004 murders to the IG, as he briefly mentioned in passing in one of his interviews, I believe. Again, this guy is just doesn't know anything. How does he know all this? Correct. I assume Congress at this point knows the exact location of the stored ARVs in Palmdale. So that's where the ARVs are from Lockheed in Palmdale, California. Interesting. Guess who works there? I don't want to say. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Let's just say people from the Tic Tac incident. Correct. I assume Congress at this point knows the exact location, right? Want Lockheed to relinquish full control back to the United States government. I'm not sure how this will play out and whether it will happen. There is also one brief point I forgot to mention, which is another reason why I reached out to you. I have no way to know if this was actually true or not. I had only heard this secondhand throughout the years. Friend of a friend around the water cooler type scenario. That this internal team within Lockheed had used the assistance of psychics, and supposedly through that they were able to make the breakthrough in operating the NHI craft. This information was secondhand and seemed incredible to me and unverifiable at the time. But this is the part that'll get you, y'all. But when I watched your interview, referring to John, I recall you mentioned briefly there was use of some sort of telepath, and that kind of lined up to what I was told. Do you have more information on telepath name, how he or she was read in? Yes, you can disclose the in-house retrieval team. I just ask that you not use any of my information or even my first name. Please don't include the term Palmdale as well. Well, too late, Mike, because no offense, I don't think you're real at all, or a real insider or anything to worry about. And your real name's not Mike, and whatever. How funny is that? I recall you mentioned briefing there was use of some sort of telepath. Now, imagine, y'all, this Lockheed Martin insider who, mind you, has information that answers the greatest question in humanity, watches randomly a random interview with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart mentions a telepath that jogs a memory in this insider's brain, and he says, ooh, psychics, that must be what it is, what Jon said. And that lined up to what I was told. Again, what he was told. This is not a whistleblower, y'all. This is an insider saying, I heard this stuff at water coolers. I don't know if it's true. All of it. He said that about all of it. And he's saying he doesn't know about the psychics either, right? Because he was in the general UAP program. He didn't know anything about the recovery group. It's all just stuff he heard. Granted, he said they were friends of his that he trusted for years. But those friends apparently will just break every rule and just divulge it around the water cooler to everybody. You don't think the Lockheed would have found out that these people the recovery team is having conversations in the break room about this? Again, y'all, if you really think about the things people say and really break it down, the critical thinking wise, like logically, it just starts to break apart. And you can't ignore that. There's a reason for that. Okay? There's a reason. But the fact that this guy just magically randomly saw Jon Stewart and it jogged a memory about a telepath and psychics from what he heard. And then he said, oh, this is the guy I need to reach out to. Again, y'all, it doesn't line up and it doesn't make any sense. Now, do I know 100% that this email is not real? No. And neither does Jon, because he didn't vet anything. And don't forget, quote, I don't need to vet anything. That's what Jon said in my interview to me. He said, I don't need to vet anything. I don't care. I'll just go tell the story. That's what people do. And then if you notice in the interview, he's like, why am I getting picked on? Everyone else does this in the UFO community. Freudian slip there, right? Because that's what he's saying. Again, the game. He thought I was going to play the UFO game, which is what's played. This is what people do. They get these LARPer emails or they write them to themselves and screenshot it and then go live with the story. And all they do is take parts from other stories and create this new thing to come out, right? Like, that's it. That's the game. And he's wondering why he's getting picked on because he knows other people are doing it as well. So I'm just saying, y'all be careful out there. That's why Vetted is not about giving you information, secret information. A source told me this, so come to Vetted so I can tell you about this crazy thing. I don't know if it's true. I will never do that. I'm not. So that's why I'm sharing all this. Don't care. I don't think this is real at all. There's more. Again, this is the rest of another email that I don't have the rest for. Okay, again, Jon did not send me anything, even though he said he did. Members from various agencies, sort of like an unofficial casual task force that regularly communicated on the subject. I think at one point they had begun reaching out to monasteries, Catholic priests, etc. A lot of these IC professionals were Christian, and they took a very fundamentalist view on this phenomena as demonic. I myself personally don't lean for or against. What does that matter, right? Would you be willing to provide me the names of the two monks from Vermont? I would just like to do my own digging and see if I can find out anything more on this. I would not contact them, would keep correspondence private. You just said you wouldn't contact them, but you would keep correspondence private. That doesn't make sense. But maybe he's talking about with Jon. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess him and Jon were talking about monks in Vermont, and who knows, dude. Oh, BS. Right. And then I guess Jon sent him some questions. Or to himself or whatever. I don't know, y'all. This is, again, I know some of y'all are going to read this and be like, dude, this sounds pretty real, Patrick. Again, I'm not saying that things that are in this aren't real. I'm saying the person that Frankensteined this together is not real. Okay? I'm not saying information inside of this is not real. Yes, it was square off and full-on firefight along with an actual disarmed execution, murder of one airman. The JSOC team was tracking the LH recovery team. Again, John came forward with the story, not knowing if it's true, not caring if it's true, not caring to protect this source in any way. He only wanted to protect himself, and he wanted to come tell the story and just, well, you believe it if you want. And he wanted to accuse an advanced aerospace tech company of, these acts, these criminal acts, without any proof, again, without any vetting, without making sure. That's my whole point of doing all of this, y'all, is to just make sure the information that goes out has been somewhat looked into, for Christ's sake. Can we at least do a little bit of work before someone comes tells a story? Because if I get this email, I'm not telling the story. One, I say don't send me emails, and I hope everyone that sees this realizes that. Oh, shit, don't send Patrick stuff, man. He will share it. That's right. I will share it. Do not tell me stuff. Do not tell me secrets. Do not nothing. Don't tell me to keep it confidential. Don't tell me. I don't want it. Yes, it was square off and full on firefight. The JSOC team was tracking. JSOC fired first, and then LH group fired back. LH group, Lockheed Martin. Well, actually, I don't know what LH. Lockheed group actually managed to take prisoner hostage one JSOC airman. Then they proceeded to taunt him and execute him. Okay. Lockheed group left in their own Lockheed dual rotor helicopters. What an odd detail, right? Why would you put that? Doesn't make sense. This guy this is a LARPer, y'all. It's a LARPer or John thinking I need to insert this stuff in so it looks real. And then that's what I'll talk about to make it seem like it's real. Why, knowing that John is probably a good family man and this and that, like the idea that he wouldn't care about protecting this person is odd. There's only one reason why you wouldn't care about protecting this person. Only one reason. They're not a real person. JSOC track where the helicopters returned to. That's wrong. That's spelled wrong. Not that that matters. And we're able to determine it belonged to Lockheed. So why does he put Lockheed here and LH there, right? Doesn't make sense. At this point, that's because you wrote this at different parts or different people wrote it. My guess is different people wrote different parts and it was kind of pieced together to make sure it looked real before this went out because it was going to get spread more. And again, you know what I mean? I guarantee you. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like multiple people wrote this because of the style. Like, I have this great ability, and I don't know anything about art, but a friend of mine in Austin used to own this art studio. And I remember going one time, and he had all this artwork up. And I remember going up to this art piece, and I was looking at it, and I was like, man, there's something off about this. I said, it looks like different styles. I was like, it looks like 2 or 3 people painted this, And my friend was like, dude, how did you know that? Like, no one has ever guessed that. Like, how did you know that? I was like, because it looks different. The styling, it didn't match, because people are themselves. Like, it's hard to pretend to be somebody else, y'all. It really is. It's so hard. So, like, that you get multiple people to write it, and it feels disconjointed. Well, there's a reason for that. There's no real style to it, right? If you notice, these answers right here are way different from the original email that Mike sent, right? They don't even sound the same, like the same person. Whatever. To this one. Determined Lockheed. By the way, I've also been in contact with Ross Coulthard about this, and he responded in the email below that he apparently is also aware of this 2004 JSOC confrontation. So I assume the people he is speaking to are legitimate and were around when this incident took place. See screenshot below of his correspondence. Please keep this confidential. So again, this guy who doesn't know Jon Stewart at all, if this guy's real as well. So Mike decides to send sensitive information to a guy he didn't vet either. So you got this guy just randomly sending information to people he doesn't vet either. And then John doesn't vet it either, doesn't care about vetting it. Why should he vet it, as he said? He's only out there to protect himself. It's like, why would, if there are real sources out there, I don't know how you watch that interview with Jon Stewart and you ever trust him again if you're a source. You would never send him any information. That makes zero sense, because if John ever comes out with another story that someone sent him an email or something, it's BS, right? You can tell right away, because why would anyone trust him after this? He'll just send it out. He'll send information out to anybody. I asked for it and he sent it to me, right? And he asked me to share after he'd already sent it to me. He asked me not to share it after he sent it to me. Think about that. But why would you send it in the first place? If it's real, you go, man, I can't trust you. I can't send you that stuff. That's what you say if it's real. Let's be real. You would just say, I can't send that to you, dude. I don't know you, Patrick. Why would I send it to you? I don't know you. But he didn't. Why? Because he was playing the UFO game, and he thought I was going to play it too, and I don't. So I don't have anything there, but here's some of the other stuff. Again, it just reads like a totally different person. LH and Lockheed, and it's not making sense. Yeah, I don't know if this is, it's just weird. It's like LH kept USG out of the loop of all ARVs and working NHI craft, maybe like a very select and minute few. And USG had an inkling they were fully operational. Again, so many other people wrote this. My guess is 2, 3, 4 people wrote this thing. And I think John is one of them. That's why when I asked him, hey, did you write that email? He said, I didn't write that. Meaning, I didn't write that, but I wrote other stuff. That's what it sounded like to me. And I've listened to it back multiple times. And again, his answer is so weird. It's so off. And he had some slip-ups in the interview, too, where he was like, he wrote, like, there were some slip-ups, man. I'm just saying. None of this makes sense, y'all. So, again, y'all have all the screenshots. I don't really want to go through all the rest of them. It's just nonsense. Just total nonsense to me. So, anyway, y'all, there it is. You've seen the screenshots. Do what you will with them. Let me clarify a few things. Remember, regardless if John told me not to share the emails, he gave me permission in our interview as well. He said, go ahead, share them. I don't care what you do. He said that to me multiple times. Twice, actually. So if John tries to come back and says you shouldn't have shared them, that you gave me permission. So already. Because he sent me an email after our... He sent me an email after our interview saying, like, hey, there's a law during the Clinton administration, a media law that by you asking for the information, you gave consent. And that's my position during the interview. Meaning he meant to say that during the interview. What? No, dude, it's what you came up with afterwards that sent me an email about. You didn't say that in the interview. That's not what you were thinking. That wasn't your position when you sent it to me. You sent it to me because you wanted it to get out, but now he's trying to backtrack and cover his ass, and it just looks so shady. You know what? I'm going to share that email. I don't want any issues here that I'm not whatever. So hang on. Okay. Let me do... Oh, can I share it? Yeah, I'll read it. I can't share the actual... I'm just going to read the exact thing. I don't know how to share it to my screen. But Patrick, thank you for having me on your show. I'm sorry for feelings on the emails I sent that you requested. When someone in the entertainment industry asked for something sent under a law passed in the Clinton administration, that is legal consent. And that's what I was using as my determining factor. He's saying that's what he thought of when he sent me the emails when I asked for him. He thought of, oh, the Clinton media law. That's Patrick asking for consent. But if you remember during our interview, he seemed confused by the whole thing. He didn't know what I was talking about. So this doesn't add up, John. It just sounds ridiculous, you saying that to me. And that's not the law, and that's not how it works. You started the correspondence with me, and I asked for the rest. I didn't ask because you didn't say don't share it. Again, I'm not getting it. Anyway, he said, lastly, Don not share. I think he means do not share. I wrote that because you and I are sharing news to people. You and I, like we're doing the same thing, John. We're not. And someone coming forward with info, maybe, perhaps in my opinion, deserves a little discretion. So you send it to me, John? You don't know me? You send it to all kinds of other podcasters that you don't know and can't trust? You literally don't. I don't even know what to say to you, John. Period. My feelings about sources. And if you're paranoid about the emails being toxic, then why question why I came forward? What? I think John, I hope John get the help he needs, man, and I hope he finds his place in this. This is all I would say to John. Look, man, you can be a part of this community and serve a purpose. You don't have to lie. You don't have to be hyperbolic, exaggerate the truth, connect yourself to all these, people. I think what you do is you're starting this hunting Victor investigation thing so that you can like have something going so you can get in the door with people and then talk about other stuff. And then the hunting Victor documentary will never come out, right? And then you'll just be able to say, well, forget about that. Hey, let's start a new project, right? You're just trying to connect yourself to all these important people. And when I push you on who they are and how you really know them and whatever, I'm curious what these people would actually say about you and the interactions they've had with you. I feel they'd be very diplomatic in their answer, but it'd probably be like, thanks for stopping by, man. We'll see you next time. That's kind of the attitude. But then John walks away from it going, oh, they're going to publish my shit in the New York Times. So I think John just misinterprets stuff. I think he's, I don't know, harmless in a lot of ways, but also harmful in a lot of ways. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's caught up in all this and he just wants to play the game like everybody else and, not expect pushback and not have to really vet anything or do anything important. And I don't even think his emails got deleted. I don't think any of that's true, y'all. I can't believe anything the guy says, to be honest with you. It's really hard to trust any word that comes out of his mouth because, again, he contradicts himself within 5 seconds of talking. You would spend hours if you were trying to pick apart what he said and all his inconsistencies because you'd have to stop him every 5 seconds, and that would get real annoying. There's no conversation could happen. And that's kind of what people do when they're trying to muddy the waters, dilute the truth, is they just dump so much out there that you just can't discern all of it. You can't go through it all. You can't pick it apart. So stuff falls through the cracks and becomes truth. And that's the problem with the UFO community, right? Of these stories getting out. That's the problem, man. So I hope we can avoid that kind of stuff. I hope we can move on past those sort of things. Look, I plan on, I'm not trying to get into all this sort of drama and every day. I'm not trying to get into any drama, y'all. I'm just doing the things that come to me, and I'm reporting on the truth of people. If that's dramatic to you, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's on you. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So, I'm not perfect either. I make a video every day. But anyway, look, thank y'all for watching, supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everything that everyone does. I appreciate any feedback I get. I just ask that if you're going to comment, please try to be honest about your feedback in the sense that I saw a few people misquoting me in the comments and then making their comment based off of the misquote, right? So they misquote me and say you're wrong and then proceed to comment about that. So please just try to get my words right and what I'm saying right before you comment. It makes it hard for me to respond to you and have a dialogue with you, right? If you completely misquote me, it seems on purpose a lot of times. It seems disingenuous. So anyway, but honestly, for the most part, all the feedback from the interview was 99% positive, 99%, yeah, let's do more interviews. So we are. But it's not going to be, the daily videos aren't going anywhere. I'm just going to let this come when it comes. But I'll definitely do more interviews when they come my way, right? For sure. So definitely expect more to come, just not a super regular thing, but a nice special treat every once in a while. But, my bread and butter are these daily videos, y'all. 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to join. So anyway, y'all, I think that's enough. I think we've covered enough. There's so much to cover on this. I can never get to it all. So I can't wait to read the emails on this one. If you think I was wrong for sharing the emails, you're privy to your opinion. I'm the one that got them, so it's my choice at the end of the day what to do with them, right? And I've always said on this channel I would, and I've always said that don't send me stuff, and people did. So I hope people watching realize, and I hope the word gets around town that do not send me stuff, because I will share it. Someone wrote in the comments that I needed a slogan that I liked. They said I should say, I see nothing, I hear nothing, I know nothing, so don't send me anything or I'll share it. And that's true. I see nothing, I know nothing, y'all. So, all right. Thank y'all again for all the support. I'll put links to everything down below, the Jon Stewart interview, the other videos with him, anything you want to catch up on. And can't wait to see what y'all think of these insider leaked emails from Lockheed Martin. So anyway, thank y'all again for watching. Appreciate the support. We'll see you tomorrow, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.